Hello, it's Dan, and you're looking for a bounce house rental or maybe a slide rental in the Salt Lake Valley area. And I'm going to help you out with a little research because when you type it into Google, bounce house rental Salt Lake, there's almost 50,000 results, and nobody has time to go through all of those. So I'm going to throw some things at you that really jump out at me. Number one is the place that has the first ad on Google, because if they care about their ads, they probably care about their company, so that's pretty important. This is Bounce Mania, as low as $79 a day. That's a pretty good price. Then the next thing I really look for even more is customer reviews. And if you look through here, this one's got 4 Google reviews. I don't know what they are, whether they're 5-star reviews, 2-star reviews, I'm not sure. But this one down here, Bounce Mania again, 31 Google reviews, and every one of them is 5 stars. And I'll show you a little bit more about that here in a minute. But when you're comparing rentals, here are 6 or 7 things that I really look for. It's kind of a checklist. Number one is great customer reviews. 5-star reviews, because if the customers are leaving good reviews, that means that it's a good company all the way around. So some details in here are fair pricing, that's very important. Strong and safe units that are big enough for adults, that's very important because it shows that there's high quality material made with the rental, the bounce house or the slide. You also want new equipment. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have rented a bounce house from a company with, really low prices, but the unit was small and there was holes all the way through it. It wasn't clean. There was literally vomit in the corner somewhere, or it smelled bad, or whatever it is. So you want new equipment and clean. That means cleaned every time it's being used. They clean it, vacuum, they put the antibacterial spray stuff on there so it's nice and sanitary. This is very important. Another huge thing is fully insured. I mean, what happens if your kid gets hurt or one of the neighbors gets hurt on this piece of equipment? If that company isn't fully insured, then you're going to be paying for somebody else's hospital bills. And you're also going to be paying if the rental unit is damaged, things like that. So that's really important, being fully insured. And then no hidden fees. I mean, you see the ads all the time that say, oh, only $65 on the weekdays. Well, they forget to tell you that the $65 rental doesn't count cleaning costs, it doesn't count distance, and sometimes it doesn't even count delivery and setup. So they say, oh yeah, we'll get you all set up for Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and then Wednesday, or even worse, Thursday morning, they call and say, oh, by the way, your rental's not actually $65, it's $115 because there's a $40 delivery and setup fee and then a $20 cleaning fee, or because you're 15 miles outside of our area, that's going to cost another $25. Blah, 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 blah. Hidden fees are just dishonest, in my opinion. So there's only one company. Well, let me show you some examples here. So here is, I'm not really going to show you the name of the companies because I don't want to talk bad about other companies in the Salt Lake area. I love all companies in the Salt Lake area, but here's some examples. Here's a $50 rental. Wow, that sounds fantastic. The only problem is, look how big it is, 14 by 12 by 8. That's a tiny rental, and I guarantee adults are not allowed in that thing. And here's the worst part. It shows a person needs to be there and you transport it yourself. In other words, you've got to take this big honking thing, put it in your car or on your trailer or in your truck, and take the equipment with you, the air pump and all that, and then you put it up, you set it up in your backyard, you turn it on, and it's a pain in the neck. And that's $50. For another, like it and Bounce Mania, for another $20 or so, they deliver it, set up, clean up, take it down, everything for you for the entire day. So that's pretty important. And then you've got other websites that have rentals, and they show you the size and kind of what it looks like. And this one's 13 by 13. That's not very big, and I'm sure that, here's a kid. It's not terribly sized. It's okay big, but I guarantee an adult, especially several adults, are not going to fit in there. So adults probably are not allowed in this unit, and that's not as fun for the kids, and it's not as fun for the adults, of course, because they're the ones paying for it in the first place. We should let them have some fun too. But the main reason I show you this website is because there's no pricing. There's not any pricing. They give you a couple of phone numbers, and what that usually means is they want you to call to ask them what the price is so that they can figure you out over the phone and be a silver-tongued salesperson and figure out how much you'd be willing to pay for this rental. They don't have set pricing, and I don't think that's fair, trying to get as much money out of you as they can. So here's another example of a website, and this is an inflatable rental company that's actually quite big. It's got Washington, the whole West Coast practically, plus Texas. So I don't like these kind of companies because they're not family oriented, and they're definitely not in your community. So the money that you spend with them is not going right back into the community. You've heard about that buy local, because it raises the living standards of your community and it helps pay taxes for the public schools and the potholes in the roads and the police force and the fire force, all of these things. So I don't necessarily like to rent from places that are big, huge companies, kind of like the McDonald's of bounce house rentals. And then here's the same company. So let's go here. This says it's $145 for a regular rental with a bounce house and a slide. So it says $145 here, and it gives you the phone number. But here, look, it says 4 hours. Now, delivery and setup, that's good, but for 4 hours, it's $145. If you want your rental for the whole day, you're looking at $203. So there's discrepancies in the pricing, and then, of course, use this unit wet for an additional $15. So there's all these little add-on prices that can be very confusing. And I just don't like that. That seems dishonest to me. And then there's the overpricing. So if you look at this, this is like a 25-foot dual lane extreme slide. So, for example, the slide on Bounce Mania is 30 feet long, and it's $185 for the entire day. It's usually a 24-hour rental. So this isn't even as long as Bounce Mania's slide, but it's $658 or $47 per hour. And that's just, to me, that's price gouging. And even a regular bounce house, that one I believe is 14 feet by 14, and so it's smaller than Bounce Mania's. Bounce Mania has them started at $79 for a 24-hour rental, and this one that's smaller is actually $322. That's just overpriced in my opinion. So I'm going to show you again the checklist. Main thing, great customer reviews. 5-star reviews, because if you've got a bunch of customers that are happy enough with the service that they'll go to Google and write a review and give 5 stars, that's probably a very good company all the way around. And then here's some more details. Fair pricing, strong, safe, and big, safe carnival type rentals. Big enough for adults, because that tells you that the quality of the material is good enough to keep them safe and make sure that it's new equipment. Clean inflatables, in other words, cleaned every time it's used. A company that is fully insured is definitely the safest bet. And then you're looking for a company that doesn't have any hidden fees like cleaning fees, distance fees, delivery and setup fees. And I'm going to tell you the truth, the only company that I know of that has these 5-star reviews, and there's 6 of them here, and they have 31 according to Google. I'll show you that again. 31 Google reviews, all 5 stars, so that's pretty important. And I looked into it, and these 5-star reviews are actually by real people, which is also very important. And So it's got the phone number here, it's got pictures, it's got the blog, it's got all kinds of testimonials. If you go to, the bounce houses, it shows you the pictures, it's got some videos, things like that. And then if you go to the slides, you can see how big they are: 30 feet long, 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. And of course, they're big enough for adults. In fact, that's an adult right there. That's a dad, and then a couple of kids. Look how huge this slide is. And here's a teenage kid with the tropical slide. That thing is huge. It's wet or dry. It's $185 for the entire day, 24 hours, whether it's wet or dry, and no hidden fees for delivery, no hidden fees for distance, anything like that. So Bounce Mania is the one that covers all of that checklist. And I'm going to show you the checklist again, but here's the phone number: 801-438-3695. Call them up, ask them all the questions that you want, and of course you want to call as soon as possible. You want to rent and schedule it out as far in advance as you possibly can, because with all of the 5-star reviews, they get a lot of repeat business, and their schedule fills up really quick. So call them as soon as you can to get it scheduled. So again, here's the checklist: great customer reviews, fair pricing, strong, safe equipment, big enough for adults, new equipment, not 15-year-old pieces of garbage, and you want clean, no vomit, no surprises. And you'd be surprised how many people I've talked to that have had no telling what in their equipment. Also, fully insured and no hidden fees. And again, I will show you the Google results again. It shows 31 reviews. Here's the address. It's right there on the map, bouncemania.com. And up here it shows all-day rentals as low as $79 a day, delivery and setup included. That means no hidden costs. Overnight rentals, new and clean units, best quality units, slides, wet or dry. And here's their actual address. So check them out. Call them at 801-436-5944. And the other website was 801-438-3695.